Prepare yourself for invasion. This is Indie Invasion.
Man, oh man, we got to jaw jacking tonight.
Yeah, almost missed the start time because we was talking about stuff.
Yeah, I looked up, it says it's showtime. We're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we're late already.
I saw that too. Said, hey guys, it's showtime. We were talking about, I was telling Eric, well, I guess in the on the front end section that we always do for what have you been working on? I guess that's what we were talking about, is what I've been working on, which is my game space down here in the basement. I've been going nuts on stuff. What's up, Ron? Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Ron.
Yeah, so I just been getting all my shelves put together and rearranging stuff and painting everything black so that it's uniform, because I'm sure all the gamers out there can appreciate the eclectic nature of the furniture you use to hold your gaming stuff.
Yeah.
And it was kind of driving me nuts. So I just went to town and I painted it all black, all of my my work desk, my desk that holds the printers, everything. It's all black all the way around the corner. So
yeah, I mean, you guys probably seen if my bookshelves I have in the basement, where when we moved in, I knew what I was planning for that space. So I went to like Walmart and bought like 5 bookshelves. It took a week to build them.
yeah,
And it still wasn't enough, of course.
maybe at one point in your gaming career, it may have been enough, but
maybe for about a week.
At this point, it has not been. Okay, so I got to do it, man. I'm going to show off my new toy. So
Mike's got a new toy that he's playing with, guys.
I can't wait till hobby night too. So I'm going to show everybody. Check it out. So I got this new camera, right? Let me get the light on there. It's got a light to it, but check it out. It's awesome. It's got a zoom feature. Boom. That's so cool. It's got a pan feature.
That's pretty neat.
What? I thought that was so cool. $75. I was like, oh, I need another camera anyway. So anyway, I just want to share that with everybody because I was excited about it. You don't have to be excited about it because I am. So anyway, I thought it was pretty cool and might help out a little bit.
What brand was that, Mick?
Asking
that Logitech or whatever.
Asking all the hard questions. It is it's this kind right here. This the box
say, huh?
Man, I don't have my glasses on. I can't see it. So I sent a link to you. I don't remember. I think it was a Vitara, maybe. What's up, Mr. Todd? Antonio's here as well. What's happening? What's happening, guys? Glad to have everybody here tonight. What have you been working on, buddy? Besides buying every comic book in Chicagoland.
Yeah, still chipping away at those Marvel Zombies. I kind of determined I want to finish those ones I started at our last paint thing. Got a little bit done on Captain America. I'm almost kind of afraid to touch Spider-Man with that bright red.
Oh, yeah.
I know I should just dive into it and I can touch up. I'm using
he's a zombie anyway, right?
No, that's the actual human version. So
okay.
Yeah, but I'm still going to I'll probably just use the black wash on him. So it'll probably hide stuff that I miss.
Yeah.
I just want to, I'm going to go old school. I'm doing my black colors, and then I'm going to wash it. And then I'm going to dry brush it and be done.
All right. There you go. I like the way that now there was a time when that would not be what you were doing.
No.
I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you. But Ron said, those minis look familiar. Yes, sir, they should. Those are the ones you printed for me. And on a side note there, Mr. Ron, Little Mac tonight was putting together his next Lance, and he was very excited about the 3 atlases that you sent to us. So I think if I had let him, he would have had a lance of 3 atlases and then just been like, I don't need a 4th mech. I've got 3 atlases. I'm good. I'm good. I've got a panther here, so we're good. 3 atlases and a panther. But
Now, is
anyway.
he painting those with you, or?
Yep, he is. He's
Okay.
working on them right now. He's using the speed paints. He picked the hardened leather.
That looks good on that.
Picked. Yeah, and he's got one whole lance done. He's got a light lance done. And so now he's getting, it's sort of a mix of an assault and a heavy lance. But yeah, he's painting them. He was pretty proud of himself because he did the canopies, and a lot of them are really tiny. So I gave him a real tiny brush, and he did a really good job. So
that's good. That's good. Yeah, that he's still doing it, and he's progressing. He's not getting frustrated like some kids do. And
nah, he's good.
He's learning. So
he'd rather just play, though.
Yeah,
he'd rather just play. So I think he and I and Jeremiah will probably get a game in this weekend. Hopefully.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I'll smoke my kids.
As long as they keep coming back to play.
That's right. They keep coming back. Actually, a couple of times Mac and I have been on the same side against some of my buddies that have come over. So
that's fun.
The Macs are teaming up on them.
That's cool. That's cool. Because I remember there was at one point, it could have been just this certain day or whatever, playing with Zane or playing the old Monster Apocalypse, and he got frustrated about something and did a table swipe where he got mad that I was beating him down, and he just went, and I said, okay, I guess we're done with this game for a while.
Oh,
yeah, I don't think he was having a good day, so I didn't hold it. I didn't hold it up against him.
You are a better man than me.
Having a bad day, but man, I did have a talk that you can't do that, dude. That just was not right.
You're a better man than me, sir.
So I think the next time his punishment was, and he didn't know this till I did this. The next time he wanted to play, I said no. I said, because we're not going to have a repeat of last time.
Yeah, you're better.
I'm like, well, this is the consequences. Maybe next time.
I'm afraid there would have been a whooping in somebody's very near future at my house. Anyway, I don't want to talk about whooping my kids. This is not that podcast. That's totally different podcast. What are we talking about tonight, sir? This one was your brainchild.
This was my brain worm, and I kind of wanted to talk about some game mechanics, and one of my favorite game mechanics it could be just tabletop games in general, not just miniature games. But mainly I was thinking miniature games, and that is the card mechanic. Now, when I say card mechanic, well, there's a couple different things you could, apply to a card mechanic, right. Something with a deck where you're flipping cards in a game. But specifically, I think the first thing that I thought of was what a deck of cards can add to, add that variety and, just randomness to a game with dice. You already have that randomness of dice. So let's throw in another random element of a deck of cards, whether it's like something that points you towards objectives, or maybe you draw a card that gives you some kind of buff or bonus, right? Something like that.
So yeah, I know we had chatted a little bit about it after we finished up Tuesday night when we were hobbying, and I like that element as well. I think that, and I thought of a few games that have specific examples just to kind of get the flavor of what it is we're kind of talking about. Ron said, oh, you wanted to Todd's whooping is a cool game mechanic. Yeah. It can be. Sometimes it's a necessary game mechanic. That's true. Ron likes the AI for the monsters in Frostgrave. I've only played Frostgrave a couple of times, and I never did any monsters. So I didn't get to experience the AI in that. But one of the things that Eric and I had talked about is specifically, Eric went and got his bell, so he's prepared for this.
Oh, yeah.
The Eye of the Engine cards in Twisted, right? It's not just a random element. It's an element that is it's a resource that you have within the source of the game, or within the playing of the game, that you can capitalize on. There's the random element because you only get a couple of cards.
Yeah.
But you can take that, I think, one step farther in that the next example being one that I played recently, which was Trailer Park Warlords of the Apocalypse. And you got a deck, or not a deck, but a hand of 5 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about those cards was they weren't specifically tied to your faction. So some of the cards you could, and you would always draw up your hand to 5. So you would get dealt 5 cards. The idea is play them. You want to be using them. If you can burn all 5 of them in your turn, burn all 5 of them. And because you draw up at the beginning of the next turn to 5 cards again, but you can affect your own guys and have a very positive effect that has some potential downside. You can affect someone else in a positive or negative way, which I thought was really cool because in a game of more than 2 people, you can positively affect someone who's busy using the whooping on them mechanic on somebody else instead of you. And then the next part of that, still within that game, is like the morphologies that they had within there, where you could take these mutations, and as you continued to take them, you would have to take a negative. So all of these are card mechanics, and I never 20 years ago when I was playing games, and
I never thought of that.
Well, they had things like board games that were really focusing on resource management, right? They had all of these resource management games that were out. And I never would have thought that I liked that because I don't like those board games. But that's fundamentally what those cards are when you're using them, is they're a resource management. It's like another little element of the game when you have this small hand of cards that can impact different things within the game, whether that's a hand of 5 cards or something as simple as Catalyst Game Labs for Battletech has the initiative cards. Well, each one of the initiative cards also has some little flavor thing that you get to do in addition to, whatever card you're playing for the initiative. If you're playing a 9 and somebody else is playing a 2, whatever it is there's something on that card that you can capitalize on. Maybe you are a better marksman for that turn, or your mech runs a little cooler that turn. And then there's objectives. I mean, there's just like no end of the resource.
It's one of those things that you can really add a lot to the game using a card mechanic. And that's some of one of the major things that I like is you mentioned flavor, is that it adds flavor to the games. It's not, it can be different every time you play it because it's a deck of cards,
right,
that you don't know how they're going to come up, and add that to all the rest of the mechanics in the game. But yeah, I think it adds just to flavor of the game, storytelling and stuff like that. And like Todd brought up here, Cybertongue.
That's, I don't want to know about that game, Eric.
Cyberpunk has a cool card mechanic, as well as Wild West Exodus 2nd Edition. That was one of the things that I liked about 2nd Edition, is the card mechanic. Because you could be on the top of the world, and the next thing you know, you're pounding dirt, just based on these cards. But it adds flavor, and you could play the same factions again, shuffle that deck up a little bit differently, and it's a totally different, story that you're being told.
And now I think there's a downside to this as well, potentially. And that's when the card mechanic becomes too much of the game, right? Now I can't think of a specific example. I'm sure that there's one out there. I don't have any doubt that there is. But when it begins to overshadow the actual gameplay, the dice rolling, the miniature moving, that element that you're playing for, I think there's the potential for that to happen.
And I think that's when you get closer more to like the board games. They're a little more predictable of gameplay, like strategy. Okay, I got to play this way, otherwise I won't be able to go this way. So
or the just card games where that is, that's
Yeah.
what you're doing. It's just card games. Ron said Wiley Games uses cards for initiative, depending on the cards, special things you can use or do. Yeah, that's like that's just like what Catalyst Games Labs does with the initiative cards as well. That's true too. Malifaux was very dependent on the card. Yeah. Interestingly, I remember the first time I played it, and because it was so new, I was just like, I don't like this. Where are my dice? I don't want this. Is dumb. I didn't want to do it. Just immediately had an aversion to it. And the granddaddy of dice and cards, the old Risk.
I don't know if I've ever played Risk. I may have started, but I don't remember ever really playing it.
You ever played Axis and Allies?
Maybe. I don't know. We probably must have in the 80s. I mean,
you would know if you had played Axis and Allies because you may still be playing. And
that's why I think I kind of remember those all day type of old school board game, like Monopoly, all day, all night type of stuff.
Monopoly doesn't hold a candle to Axis and Allies. Risk doesn't hold a candle to Axis and Allies. I'm not entirely sure Twilight Imperium holds a candle to a good solid game of Axis and Allies. But so one of the elements of the cards where you were talking about the element of storytelling that it adds. And I think that that's really profound in the discussion because I can still remember a game that we played. It was a game of Twisted, but I can still remember exactly how the game ended, specifically because of the way the cards played. So a quick story here. I'm not sure I'm able to tell a quick story, but I'll do my best. Quick stories are not my forte. But what it was is we had set up this board and there was an airship on the board, and the objective was to get to the airship door, make an interact roll with the door, open it, and you start it, and boom. And that was the goal. And then the other player was to stop you from doing it. So I'm on my way. It's like the last turn, and we open up the turn, and you open up the turn with the Eye of the Engine cards. Okay. You sort your activation deck and you get ready to do that. That's a whole nother card element too. And then you get your Eye of the Engine cards. Well, the card that I pulled, so basically I can't remember who I was playing, but I remember how it went. Basically, the biggest dude, Bill, is standing between me and the door. And it's just a little 1-inch wide path on the airship. So I can't go around him. I got to go through him. Well, the guy I've got's not going through anybody, right? He's a little puny dude. But the Eye of the Engine card that I get, I play, he can't stop. And it causes a model of my choice on the opposing team to disappear for one turn. He just vanishes. And so I picked that model and he vanished. He was gone. He was no longer in my path. And I walked right to the door and I failed my roll and lost the game. But that wasn't the point that I lost the game. The point was the cards played out just that way perfectly. And like I said, just saying that activation deck is another thing that's a resource management sort of card thing that you do. I didn't realize that card mechanic was a favorite of yours, though.
It is, and I think it comes from the deck building card games of the hand management, because I really like that hand management aspect of card games of kind of burning through your deck to get those big cards that you want. And when miniature games started doing that, it really intrigued me, because it's like, oh, I get this mechanic that I love in a card hand game in a tabletop game combined with dice. It's just like, wow, the possibilities then.
Even on a super simplistic level with cards, and this doesn't talk to a card mechanic, but even on a super simplistic level, just having cards for things like spells or specific equipment is really, really kind of helpful.
Yeah, because back in the day, not to show our age, we used to have to write everything on the line paper and remember it, highlight it if we really wanted to remember it. And now it's like, I thought of X-Wing, Attack Wing, and all those kind of those
Right.
kind of army building, those squad building games where you can fit out your ships differently by just taking a card and swapping it and
Right.
seeing what the points added up. I really like that too.
Yeah, I did too. Now there was a downside to that too, though, because once you got so many cards, man, you were flipping through the book. You're flipping through the book, trying to find that one card you want, versus having the book and looking at everything and just jotting it down on your lined piece of paper, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Todd chiming in again. He says, "Back in my day, we had stone tablets and we liked it." That was before they had those round wheels too, Todd. They still had the square ones. It was very, very, very rough days.
What's up, Terrence?
Welcome, sir. Welcome. So Tonio said Star Wars Legion has a similar initiative system with abilities on the cards, later versions of Guild Ball too. I only played Guild Ball a couple of times. I've got I want to say it was the last iteration of it before it went away.
Is it the same one I got that we got at Adepticon for free and part of the bags and people? No? Okay.
No, I didn't get a bag then. I got that one at NashCon. But I played, I'll say 2 or 3 times, and I liked it. I think if I'm not so much big into the fantasy sports games, because if I'm going to play one of those, I want to play Blood Bowl or Rumble Slam.
Yeah.
Those are just the two. There's nostalgia with Blood Bowl, and Rumble Slam is just, it's wrestling.
Fun. Yeah, it's fun.
It's wrestling, man. Come on. I live in the South. It's wrestling. So that's what it's about, Let's see. Terrence says, at some point I want to try the Warlord initiative where you draw dice or tokens. Now, I have done that before in, oh gosh, might have to walk over to my bookshelf to remember the name of the game. But insofar as initiative, it's not really card based, but since we've spoken a good bit about initiative here, is Twilight, where you draw the tokens out of the bag, or also the Warlord games, Strontium Dog and Judge Dredd, same thing, where you're drawing initiative tokens out of the bag, and that's a resource management kind of thing. It's just, it doesn't have the same sort of effect. Yeah, there you go. Tonio's like, Twilight, stones instead of cards. That's definitely it. Same mind as Mac. Hey man, I love Twilight. If I could get more people to play it down here, I think that would be one of my top games, just because of the models, really. They're just such gorgeous sculpts and just so unique. And I know that Mike probably gets tired of the comparison, but it's just so Dark Crystal. I know he gets tired of the comparison. But
that's a different thing, Terrence.
Oh yeah, no, not that kind of Twilight. This is the Chronicles of Anural. This would be a good game. If you really want to do a vampire game, you got to go Carnivale, or what is it? Night Thirst is that the name of the new one from Black Site? I think it's Night Thirst.
Think so, yeah.
Let's see. Well, what did Todd say? Cool thing about card draw versus dice, a deck of cards has a memory. I think I know what you're saying there, and I agree with that, with the cards versus dice. I am trying, for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of that game. Driving me.
A deck of cards is basically as deep as you have cards in the deck.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things in that mechanic for Twisted, is the deck is shuffled every time a card is used.
Yeah.
So if you tempt fate in the middle of the turn, where you get to draw a card because somebody's getting ready to really crush you, and you don't have a chance, so you just tempt fate, you draw a card. When that card goes back in the deck, you shuffle the deck. So it's a constantly refreshed deck.
Yeah. And I like that, because then it's like you can't play that burn through the deck game of just
Right.
playing your cards or discarding them and draw a new hand type of thing. Because I know there's a lot of games that you can do that. If you didn't use the cards for one reason or another, you can just dump them all and just draw fresh.
Yeah. I like what Tonio says here in Malifaux and Relic Knights, how the use of your cards randomization, you have a hand to swap with, give you some control of your fate. And that makes me actually think of another benefit of that kind of idea that I really like of having the hand. And I didn't realize how much I liked it until I played Trailer Park Warlords. Having that deck of 5 cards is, while somebody else is going, I'm going through my cards.
Yeah.
I'm still engaged in the game. And we had 4 people playing. Well, really 5, because one team was split. But I'm engaged in every aspect of the game, because since my cards can affect positively and negatively everyone potentially, then I'm like, okay, all right.
It's not the basic you go, I go, you go, I go. It's you go, and I'm sitting there. What can I do to mess with you? Or yeah.
And I really liked how that kept you engaged in the game. It keeps you thinking about what's going on and your potential to, for lack of a better term, do a reaction like you would in, an Infinity or Drowned Earth, where you're reacting to something. We better give this plug. So Night Thirst is the last day of Back Room today, if you're on the fence. So check out,
it's midnight, I think, usually.
Yeah, so check out Black Site Studios, because they're always putting out good stuff anyway. And I don't, the game looks kind of cool. I haven't looked really deeply into it, but again, I'm at that point where I can't buy the games because they're not going to get played.
Yeah.
As it is, if Coastal Con goes off, I've got 2 big old tubs of miniatures that it's like $2 a piece, man. They just got to go. They just got to go.
Now, and the nice thing too, just to throw this out there with Black Site, this Back Room, everything they put on there is not exclusive. So if you guys do miss out because of finances or whatever, it's all available eventually. So
look at that. Terrence said he had to switch channels so he could watch and look stuff up. Well, our work here is done then. Our work here is done. We have accomplished what it is that we have wanted to accomplish. That's very true. I'm probably going to go look at the Night Thirst.
The minis are great. If you want, even if you just want vampire minis, which who doesn't want a vampire mini? That's like me saying I don't want a zombie miniature.
Yeah, we know you want a zombie miniature. We know you do.
I mean, you could just look at it, getting those too. So
so it's definitely worth checking out. I'm trying to think of any other. Probably the last aspect I can think of in the card mechanic of games is the hidden objectives. Right. Typically, you go into the game, you're like, okay, we've got 4 objectives on the board. Are we going to do a hold? Are you going to have to unlock something? Blah, 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 all this other stuff. But I really like a hidden objective too. I've got my card over here. Twisted has it. Deep Wars has it. Shadow Sea has it. Where I remember I think I've even still got a deck of them around of 40K secret objectives where, it's like, okay, if you kill the highest points value person on the board, you get an extra victory point.
Yeah.
Or if you do this thing, you get an extra victory point.
And I like that because it gives you something more to play for than just wipe your opponent off the board.
Right.
It gives you a variety of different ways to play the same game, which is kind of cool. And once again, it still tells a story, right? I mean, it may not come out right away, but by the end of the game, when you slaughter that guy's dude,
Right, exactly. So we got a couple comments here. Tonio says, not easy. Missed the episode playing what's played around you, but it's still hard on indie players as new games keep calling us. Yeah. Definitely. It is hard, man. This Quar's War and Zenith's Nemesis are my current willpower tester. Well, I'm not going to be any help to you on this Quar's War. I'm going to tell you you should, just because I've seen your paint jobs, and I think you would love painting the Quar. And one of the other things that is my absolute one of my favorite aspects of this Quar's War is that Josh has, and we talked about this a while back when we talked about the fluff of 40K and Battletech and the depth of it, right? We talked about that. Well, that's how this Quar's War is. Josh has just written so much fluff on it that it's ridiculous the amount that there is. So it's so well grounded and rounded out, and it's just really neat. So that's my 2 cents. Terrence says, kind of rude that the back room closes before Adepticon.
Yeah, they should have kept it open maybe one more week, I think. Or
out Relic Blade at the con with an eye to getting in. Yeah, I mean, if you can't find anybody to play, that's awesome. Or that's a bummer. But Relic Blade's a good game, and it plays crazy fast. If you've got 4 people playing, you can play a full campaign in an evening, because you can rotate between and everyone is in. I mean, it really is. It's that good. And yes, Terrence, I had to bring up Quar. I've got a bunch of Quar stuff. Most of it painted up. Let's see. Probably get at least one of the new plastic boxes, even if only that. Been reading the old rule books for that. Yeah, I have all the old rule books for that. And it's a good game. It originally used the Song of Blades and Heroes rule set. I'm not sure what the new one is using. I know there's a card mechanic embedded within it, but it was previously using Song of Blades and Heroes rule set, which was, I think that's how I originally got directed towards it, because I'm a big fan of Song of Blades and Heroes from several other games. So everybody go buy Quar. Go back Night Thirst. Spend all your money. Don't worry. It's not
I have a feeling I'm going to be spending all my money on MDF like I usually do at Adepticon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Terrence, go check out Twilight Chronicles of Annural. Go join the Facebook group. You got to be in the Facebook group in October, because Mike does Inktober, and he just draws tons of
every day
Twilight stuff. Yep. Yeah. Tons of Twilight stuff. And then usually after October, there's a Kickstarter not too far down the road, because it seems like he draws something and goes, oh, that'd be a great miniature. So let's see. What do we got here? Deadlands RPG, cool cards for Magic. Blood Bowl players make the top of the to play list. Okay. Oh, no Blood Bowl for you. I'm sorry. Quar was built on Song of Blades and Heroes, Terrence. I'm not sure what the revamped rule set is. I haven't looked at it because I like the old rule set. And there's Tim. His Quar pre-order just shipped. Awesome.
Did you do that? Are you responsible for that?
No, I don't think I'm responsible for that. I'm pretty sure Tim's been in the Quar group longer than I have. So, well, everyone's been something longer than me. I've been kicked off Facebook twice. So I'm a brand new Facebook user. I have like 11 friends. So, and I'm just going to keep it that way too. I'm just keeping it that way. Anyway, I think that about wraps it up for that mechanic. I think, the thing about that mechanic is it's much broader than I had originally thought when we were going to talk about it. You say, I really like a card mechanic within a skirmish game. And then you go, okay, what do you mean by that? Which card
mechanic? Diving into it, it's like, well, there's a lot of different avenues that can go.
Yeah, you could really bog down a game. You could just incorporate all of those, just all of those mechanics into that. Look, Todd, you are not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be on my side.
He's keeping track.
That is rough right there, man. Okay, fine. I got the video. Don't worry, so we don't turn it off and on. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. This was a pretty fun one. Hopefully you saw that we did something on Tuesday Not sure how regular that's going to become, but I've got some free time here lately, so I might be talking old games, might be doing some hobbying. I don't know, but be jumping on Tuesday evening. So join us for that too. But don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, smash all the buttons, do the little notification on YouTube so you know when we go live for any kind of unboxings or anything. On a side note, don't forget to go over and subscribe to SideQuest Comics. You see all the things behind Eric over there. Those are comic books. That's what he's talking about on the other channel.
Yeah, Ron was trying to throw me under the bus earlier.
Yeah, and it's probably payback for all of the indie games we throw at people. But join us every Thursday night for our Shorts live stream where we talk about something about gaming. You can check out everything we have that we've been doing for the past 4 years on all of the podcast platforms that are out there. 4 years, man, 4 years. Also, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Drop us a line at indieinvasion@gmail.com. And always, definitely, most certainly go over and join the Discord. There'll be a link in the description where you can go over and join, posting up some pictures over there. I got an awesome Tim referred to it as the Meth Lab trailer for Trailer Park Warlords of the Apocalypse. So the Meth Lab trailer is coming along nicely. Just got to put the tarp on the roof of it. But check out the Discord channel as well. And of course, if you want any merch, check us out on Redbubble /people/Indie Invasion. And you can get hats, t-shirts. Probably don't need hoodies anymore right now because I don't know what it is there. It's like, I'm sweating down here. It's 80 degrees here. I've got all 4 doors off the Jeep and they ain't going back on till winter. So
you still need them up around Chicago. So
yeah, well, and winter here is going to be like, I'll put them back on in December. So they're going to be off. My doors hang in my garage more than they drive around on my car. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us again. It's always great to hang out and talk with you guys. Don't forget, check out the Quar stuff that's releasing. Terrence, go check out Twilight Chronicles of Anural, not the one with the werewolves and the vampires and the sparkles, not that one. And until we see you again, my friends, don't forget to prepare yourself for the invasion.